All right, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna share my screen. Hopefully, hopefully it's more useful than it was last time. Okay, dokie. All right, can y'all give me a thumbs up to let me know if you see the slideshow, the Landscapes of Remembrance image?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, amazing. All right, so we're gonna dive right in this Monday evening. Um, so welcome to Landscapes of Remembrance, the body as archive and ancestral terrain. This workshop is going to be more of a guided journey and ceremony, where our other workshops have been more lecture-based and experience. This will be more experience-based. On this journey together, we're going to be mapping our body through the familiar chakra points and connecting Orisha to them as sites of remembrance. And this is in an effort to spark and activate memory, of course, to remember sacred technology, to gain intel and understanding, of course, and connection. As always, we are reaching back to our ancestors' practices through embodied practice. Maybe remember that our bodies are really truly mosaics of those who came before us. Our cellular memory. Um, and this, our cellular memory, the things that we carry from our ancestors and as part of this mosaic, sometimes this can look like sickness or illnesses that kind of carry through the lineage, things that we've moved through in life, patterns that many of us are learning to break now. It can also look like fears that don't really have a point, like a pinpoint that we can remember why something really feels fearful for us. It could look like taboos that we hold, but this can also look like parts of us that come online organically from a place that feels channeled. I'm sure many of you have had that experience where all of a sudden, like this information, this deep knowing just begins to flow through you. This is also, part of that ancestral technology coming online, as I like to say. And with that, I want us to remember how brilliant and radiant our ancestors were as well and as they are. And, yeah, we carry some baggage from them, but we also carry their light. We also carry their power. We also carry their resilience, their wisdom, and their protection. So who is Yabisi? Who are we? Yabisi means trees in Taino, and we are a living ecosystem of ancestral remembrance rooted in earth medicine, in community, in culture, and in spirit. Throughout the diaspora, centros have served as spiritual and communal gathering places where ancestral knowledge and ritual healing and cultural memory are rooted, practiced, and passed on. Excuse me, let me have more folks in the room.
And Lindsay, I think you're
Yes.
hovering over the percent button, but you haven't clicked on it yet.
So which button?
The percent button for the slideshow.
Oh, okay. On my screen, it's fully full screen. So let me try and do that over. Let's try again. Are you still seeing it in the small screen or is it back to the large or is it a large screen?
Small screen still.
I think we're gonna have to rock with the small screen, y'all. I'm sorry. It's for some reason it's full on mine, but that is not the case there. Alrighty.
I can see a full screen as well.
Oh, okay. as long as y'all can see it, and I'm gonna be sending these later again if you want to um review them later. And I have the note taker taking notes right now, so you'll have all that as well. Um, I was speaking about the centro. Let me look at my notes, sorry. Okay, so within Yabisi, we have 4 branches that extend to create our centro. Let me go to the next page. The first branch is our Botanica of Remedios, inspired by Caribbean practices and plant medicines. Second, we have our branch of events and spiritual gatherings, ceremonial gatherings as well. These are spirit-centered experiences honoring diasporic traditions. This image is from our Festa de Yemayá last year. Third is our ecosystem of practitioners. And we have a growing referral list on our website. And here you can find vetted integral practitioners, those who are offering one-on-one sessions to group ceremonies, etc. There's a beautiful list of folks up there. And fourth, we have our School of Remembrance, which is bringing us here together today. And this is a year-long training created for practitioners and emerging practitioners and healers who are looking to integrate diasporic technologies and rituals into their practice. A little bit about me. I am a second-generation Nuyorican born and raised in the Bronx, New York. I am an espiritista, a curandera, sometimes a writer, an educator. I'm a 7th-generation botanica owner. I am living in Brazil currently, learning and practicing candomblé. I'm also the first generation since my grandmother to actively be picking these practices back up in this way, holding a spiritual center. But of course, I have added my modern twist to it. Growing up like a lot of Caribbean folks, my family was very much Catholic in the front, brujeria in the back. Growing up, I did have ties to Lukumi. So the way that I teach really alternates between that. I'll often refer to the Orisha through the way that we say their names in the Lukumi tradition, the ways that we say their names in the Candomblé tradition. And I will offer many different ways that we salute them as well. And this is just an organic weaving of my own lineage. As I mentioned, growing up in the Bronx in a very Latino neighborhood, we had a very specific way of connecting to the Orisha and the Santos. So a lot of this is foundational for me. But since then, I've studied and initiated into different lineages, as well as being on my own path of remembrance. A lot of the reason that we're here today, a lot of the reason that this school is existing is to help to continue to bridge the gap for many folks from the diaspora, helping us to have more language and context for these practices that continue to call us to things that we might be doing, but don't really have that background or foundational understanding as to why. The next, we have your hand raised.
Sorry, I'm
It's
not sure
okay.
if anybody else is having issues with the slide because it's still stuck on slide 2. And I don't know if everybody else is seeing all the other slides.
Okay. How's everybody else's slides looking? Let me see if I can escape
Or
my.
I'm stuck on slide 2 as well.
Okay. Let's try again.
Hey, Lindsay,
Yes.
it's Dolores. If you want to send me the link to the slides, I'm happy to kind of offer tech support. That's easier for you to
Thank
focus
you.
on your notes and stuff. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me co-host you really quick. And I will send you the link. There aren't many slides. Um, but I love a slideshow. So let me get you this link, Dolores. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Mm. Okay. All right, I just sent that over. Mhm. Okay. Mm.
Do you want to go to slide 3?
We can go to slide 4, actually.
Okay.
Okay. But just wrapping up a little bit about myself, as I mentioned, this is really in an effort to help us bridge the gap. We've been offering free community activations since February under the School of Remembrance. Our first activation was connecting with the ancestors. The second activation was still connecting to our ancestors with the warriors in our lineage, helping us to learn more protection rituals, protection rites, helping us to stay grounded. This last remembrance activation was surrounding herbalism, spiritual baths, and understanding how to work with different bodies of water. And this final, experience is really an integration of all of those. We're going to be walking, as I mentioned, through the chakra system, connecting with the Orisha, connecting with the ancestors, and helping to really receive messages that our bodies wanting to transmit to us, as well as these benevolent and elevated ancestors. Today's class is really for those of us who are ready to remember during a time where so many of us have been experiencing the erosion of so many cultures around the world, where we really are finding ourselves in the midst of spiritual warfare. We gather to remember, we gather to sharpen our tools. And this class is for those who are wanting to tap into their bodies as a site of remembrance, as a site of connection. And for those who are ready to root in their spiritual practice and reconnect to Mother Earth's medicine in a very embodied and integral way. And we can go to the next slide, please. This is a poem that I like to call an ancestral prayer. I'll read it out loud. Remember, our ancestors taught us how to carry our culture in the canoes of our bodies. Remember, our people, scattered like stars, form new constellations when we gather. Remember, home is not simply a house, a village, or island. Home is an archipelago of belonging. And we can go to the next slide. And here we're really going to call on our ancestors. So if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes in this moment. Get comfortable in your seat. Take a few deep breaths as we begin to create this container. We thank the ancestors for bringing us together today. The Spirit of the Most High, ancestors known and unknown, benevolent spirits that walk with us through life. We thank you for guiding us here today in this space of learning and remembrance. We ask that this space be protected. We ask that the knowledge we receive with integrity, with discernment and alignment. May each person in this space be guided towards clarity, guided towards wisdom, and guided towards their spiritual alignment. We ask that this work be done with integrity for the traditions and respect for our ancestors who walked before us. Ashe. I am going to add a link to a YouTube video. Feel free to play this in the background. There we go. It's just like river sounds with like some birds, like really nice nature vibes. We're going
For the group?
I've noticed that when I play it with my own voice, like the voice and the sound kind of cut off. So if
Okay.
folks want to open it in another screen,
No problem.
you're welcome to do that. I know we had a few folks who just showed up a bit later. So I want to give folks a moment. If you want to grab a journal or something to write transmissions down with, this is a good time to do that. Okay, we can go to the next slide. It's just a holding image while we walk through the meditation. So you can find a comfortable seat if you feel more comfortable laying down for this. This will be about a 30-minute guided meditation. Excuse me. You're welcome to leave your camera on or off. So finding yourself in a comfortable seat, wherever your body feels supported in this moment, allow your eyes to gently close. Taking a slow breath in through your nose, filling up your belly, and exhaling softly through your mouth. Again, inhaling and exhaling. One more time, taking a slow, intentional inhale, filling up your belly and your side bodies. Sipping in a little bit more air and exhaling through your mouth. Feel the weight of your body being held by the earth beneath you. Allow yourself to be present with nothing to fix, nothing to become, nothing to accomplish. Just being present in this moment, connecting with your breath. And as you settle and arrive, on your next exhale, I want you to imagine roots gently extending from your body into the earth below. These roots move through the floor, through the layers of soil, through stone and through water. Traveling and reaching toward the deep memory of the earth. Breathing into this space, allowing yourself to be held, allowing yourself to belong. Today, we journey through the body as a landscape of remembrance, a sacred terrain where memory, spirit, and wisdom reside. At each energy center, We will pause, we will listen, and we will invite the Orisha who govern these spaces to communicate with us. Allow your breath to move more naturally. Each inhale, a wave of arriving. Each exhale, a wave of returning. Trusting that whatever arises is welcome. As you begin to inhale, bring your awareness down to the base of your spine, feeling into your feet, your legs. Notice the places where your body meets the earth. And visualize a deep, red, glowing energy here. This red glow is warm and steady and ancient. This is the place of belonging, the place of survival. In this root chakra, we ask, am I safe? Am I supported? Am I allowed to take up space? Breathing into this energy. This root chakra is the home of Shango, the Orisha of divine masculinity in your ancestry. Shango is the keeper of fire, the drumbeat. He represents vitality and courage. You feel Shango's strength beneath you like bedrock, like the sound of rolling thunder through the mountains. Quietly ask yourself, what does my foundation need? What am I carrying that no longer belongs at my roots? How can I stand more firmly in my own life? And just breathe and pause with that for a moment, allowing whatever emotion or thoughts that want to arise, allow them to come through, be present, continuing to breathe. Now we bring our awareness to your lower belly, to your womb space, your hips, the waters of your body. And here, I want you to imagine a soft orange light moving like gentle waves. You want to place your hand on your room space, you can do so. This is the realm of feeling, of pleasure, creativity, relationship, and the tides of emotion. Here, we invite the Orisha Yemaya and the matriarchs of our lineage to come forward. Yemaya is the mother of oceans, the keeper of the waters, and the ancient mother of life. Visualize her waters surrounding you, holding you and rocking you. Breathing into that nourishing energy. And ask yourself, what emotions are asking to be felt right now? What part of me is longing for nurturing? What wants to flow more freely through my life? And sit with this for a moment and breathe and listen. As we breathe, you move your awareness up towards your solar plexus, the space just beneath your ribs, and notice the warmth here. Imagine a gold light gathering like sunlight. This is the center of confidence, of worthiness, of choice and desire. This is the place where we learn to honor our value. And here we call upon the Orisha Oshun and our ancestry around worthiness. Oshun is the Orisha of the sweet waters, of beauty and abundance, of self-love. As we breathe, we can feel her golden rivers moving through this energy center. They are gentle. This movement is gentle but powerful. Breathing into this energy, basking in that golden light. Ask yourself, where am I being invited to value myself more deeply? What gifts am I ready to receive? What would it feel like to trust my own radiance? And breathe with these questions. Allow yourself to receive. Allow yourself to pause. As we continue to breathe, you can bring your awareness up to your chest, to your heart space, your lungs, and your heartbeat. Imagine an emerald green light expanding with every breath. This is the center of connection, of compassion, of love and boundaries. This is the space of courage. And at this heart center, we invite the Orisha Ogun, as well as our warrior ancestry, to come forward. Ogun is the great warrior, the keeper of the path, the guardian of integrity. As you breathe, you can feel him clearing overgrown roads within your heart space, making space for truth. Breathing in this green light, ask yourself, what is ready to be healed here? What boundaries support my growth? What path is my heart asking me to walk? Pause and breathe into this energy, feeling into these inquiries. Continuing to breathe, we bring our awareness to your throat, the space of your voice, releasing any tension in your neck or jaw. And as you breathe, imagine a blue light gently expanding at your throat chakra. This is the space of expression, of truth, communication, of prayer. Here, we invite the Orisha Obatala, as well as those in our ancestry who authentically and clearly communicated. Obatala is the elder of wisdom, the creator of clarity and a cool mind, the bearer of peace. Imagine a white light pouring through your throat like cool water, softening fear and releasing any tension around this throat area, any tension around authentic expression. With every inhale, visualize your throat chakra expanding. As you breathe, ask yourself, what truth longs to be spoken? Where have I silenced myself? What wisdom is ready to move through me? And pause in this space and listen and breathe. Continuing to breathe, we bring our awareness right between our brows, right at your third eye center. This is the center of inner sight. And here you can imagine an indigo light glowing softly. This is the realm of intuition, of insight and discernment. This is the space of sacred knowing. It is here that we invite Oromila and the light bearers of our ancestry to come forward. Oromila is the witness of destiny, the keeper of wisdom, and the guide of divine perspective. The energy feels like sitting beside an elder, an ancestor, and feeling their quiet strength and presence. As you breathe, ask yourself, what am I being invited to see clearly? What wisdom already lives within me? What kind of guidance is available to me right now? And take a moment to sit with these questions and receive any messages and breathe. And as we continue to breathe, bring your awareness to the top of your head, to your crown, your Ori. And here you can imagine a luminous white light opening up above you, visualizing perhaps a flower blooming with every inhale and exhale. This is the space of connection to spirit, to destiny, to the deepest self. And here we honor our Ori, the sacred consciousness within, the divine spark that guides your path. As you breathe, feel the light descending through your crown and flowing throughout your entire body. With every breath, allow this light to cascade down your body. And ask yourself, what does my highest self wish for me to remember? What is seeking alignment in my life right now? How can I walk more closely with my destiny? Pausing with these inquiries, breathing. And now, with our mind's eye, we can see all 7 centers illuminated. Red at our root chakra, orange at your sacral chakra, gold at your solar plexus, green at your heart center, blue at your throat chakra, indigo at your third eye, and a white light at your Ori. This is a living landscape, a sacred map, a body made of memory and manifestation. Notice which center called most strongly to you today. Take note of the messages that were arising. Notice what feels unanswered and needs more excavation. Trust that this conversation can continue long after this meditation ends. And wherever you are in your breath, let's exhale, exhaling through the mouth, taking a pause, breathing in through your nose, breathing in remembrance, and exhale. Taking an inhale, breathing in clarity, and exhale. Inhaling one more, breathing in belonging, and exhale. Continuing to breathe and feeling the earth beneath you once more, feeling deeply connected, feeling the support around you. Offering gratitude to your ancestors, to the Orisha, to your body, and to the landscape within. Returning back to a normal breathing pattern that feels comfortable for you. And slowly begin to arrive back in the space, gently welcoming movement to your body, maybe wiggling your fingers and toes. Allowing yourself to have gentle stretches. Returning slowly and carrying these teachings back into your waking life. And remembering the wisdom that we are seeking is not somewhere else. It truly lives within the landscape of your own being. So I want to give folks a few minutes, let's say 5 minutes or so. Um, if you want to write anything down, any notes, any messages or transmissions, let's take some time to do that. And I'll know that you're ready when you're back on screen. So like I said, we'll take about 5 minutes to do that. If you'd like some suggested prompts, the next slide has some questions. Thank you. Otherwise, please free flow. Yeah, we'll take another 2 minutes for this writing practice. I'm taking this last minute to wrap up any thoughts. I'd love to have a moment, if anyone would like to share anything that came through for them.
I don't mind sharing. I don't know
Awesome.
how the sound is because I think I still have
Oh,
the
I can
sound.
hear you fine.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Mhm.
I'm feeling like really calm. I think I was falling asleep a little bit. Um, I guess the first thing that came up for me is that like what I'm calling like my worthiness center felt a little bit like activated and triggered. I think that's something that I deal a lot with. That like, I when you have meditations and everything, like you're welcoming in new knowledge as well, but for me sometimes it's like the things that come are the things that you kind of already know that like sometimes you try and turn away from, but you can't really turn away from it.
Mhm.
Um, so I think sitting with that more and like asking myself why sometimes I don't feel worthy enough for XYZ, or like am I holding myself back from like blessings because I'm like feeling a little like, you know. So
Mhm.
that was something that I think I really felt in my body. And then at the end, I was kind of just like holding my head as I was laying down. And I was getting these like almost like I'm like looking out of a car, like going by somewhere, like all this water and like sailboats, which I think is interesting because I'm like currently planning a trip to Puerto Rico.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm kind of like, that feels really like, in theme, for like some place that I just like have to be. I don't know, very, very interesting. I got like, my foundation I think is really important and I think I need to tend to more. Um, I had this like really big orb of like dark violet blue kind of like something at the end, which I also thought was interesting.
Mhm.
Um, right after all of the like water sailboat stuff too. Um, yeah, I don't know. I took a moment to kind of like hold these like various areas as you were verbalizing them. One to try and keep myself awake. Two, I think that's just how I feel things. Uh, my heart space is always very strong. Like I always get that big like burst of green that I very much feel connected to. I think that's something I've been tapping into a lot over the past year or so. Um, is really like a lot of warrior energy, a lot of just like a lot of roses that came to me as
Mhm.
well. Yeah, just sitting with some stuff that I think I already knew about myself,
For sure.
but inviting myself to think a little more. I'm sitting on the sailboats. I'm sitting on the
Me
sailboat.
too. I'm like, ooh. That sounds beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm gonna check in with the chat here. Katie says, my mind wanted to get back to wandering, but I feel like I came back around when Ogun was mentioned. Ogun will do that for sure. Command the attention. B says that their body is buzzing and electric. Status extra on top of anxiety somatically, and how my chakra, forget which one, that Oshun governs, that's your solar plexus, and my throat chakra were the most activated, separated from the earth like my roots are hesitant to anchor. This is a great meditation to even just check back in. I do like a quick version of this sometimes, especially on those days where I wake up and I'm already buzzing and I'm like, oh my God, I got a like wild to-do list, or like, I got to get going, get going. Before I even get up out of my bed, I'll take a breath and just visualize roots and like remembering that I'm grounded, and I'll do like a white light over my body that I'm visualizing is protecting me and clearing like anxieties out of my body. Um, I hope that that's I hope that that's helpful. I see Melissa, your hand is raised.
Hola, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Okay, hola everyone. It's so nice to be with all my gente here. I want to say thank you for this opportunity to slow down and really just feel. So I wanted to start there, and your voice was so calming,
Thank you.
so vibrant at the same time.
Thank you.
So it felt like in a moment I was like, is that her real voice? Like it feels angelic almost, right?
I take
And
it.
it was really nice. And so for each of the centers, as you were going through them, it was all very different, right? Like when we started off with the root, and when you said, see, take that exhale and then see your roots, it was instant. I felt that just coming and going and going, and it just kept going.
Mm,
And it just felt so beautiful. And I could feel it at some point when it got to it, it felt like the center of La Tierra, La Madre. Um, what it felt like in that moment, I felt like energy coming right back up, all this love, all this
mm,
support, and it came shooting up, and I felt it through my legs into my hips, right? And then we moved into the next chakra, right? And then I felt all this water. And it was interesting because right before you said water, I had already felt the water, and I was like, oh, she's inside of me.
we're tapped in.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And I could feel the expansion opening, bigger than my physical body,
Mhm,
right? And then as I was rising through all the chakras, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the whole body. When I got to the third chakra, the solar plex, I started to see spirals, right?
mm,
Like the sacral triangle spiral, and it was just spiraling and spiraling. And it felt like a merging together. It felt really, really magical. Like if there was parts of me that were scattered in that space, because sometimes I struggle with worthiness, right? And like, and speaking my voice, and I felt a connection with that as well with the throat. And then as we moved into the heart, I felt literally my body started popping. Like my bones, out of muscles started to relax. And there were parts in the back of my chest that
mm,
started cracking like boop, 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 boop. bup. And like you could physically hear it, like
Wow.
burst bubbles. And then the throat chakra, I placed my hands on my throat and I could feel like my shoulders, my throat, and my head starting to realign as if it felt like my head wasn't even on. It was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I started to feel it like softly coming right back in, and my jaw softening and aligning itself. And I felt it in my teeth as well. And then as I moved up to the third eye, I just felt like home. It felt very home there. And I really felt my ancestors there. I felt in a big room with strong, powerful ancestors. And then with the crown, there was a deep relaxation and opening, and then an explosion going up. And then because my roots were still connected to the tierra, I felt this electric kind of feeling coming up and down, up and down, up and down. And I felt like I was the vehicle in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
just experiencing that up and down. So that was really beautiful. There was more to it as well, but I don't want to make my share too long. But yeah, it was really beautiful to see that in each one there was a different experience.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for guiding that.
Of
It was
course.
gorgeous.
Thank you so much for that share. It feels like you had a sort of like recalibration almost. I love that.
Yes, it totally felt like realignment, you know? And that's like such an important thing, right? That equilibrium. So
Sure.
that felt really nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Dolores, I saw you had your hand raised, but it wasn't allowing me to. So if you want to unmute, you're welcome to.
Thank you. Yeah, because I'm sharing screen, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but thank you. So I have three quick points that I want to share.
Okay.
Um, so the first one was overall, I had wrote down that like I was really proud of myself for sticking through the meditation because there's a lot of movement in my space right now. And typically I'm easily distracted and I'm also like always looking for these perfect conditions to hop into a meditation. Um, but I was like, oh, because I was experiencing so much and I was so in it, I honestly was not paying attention to what was happening around me at all. Like completely was able to disconnect from that and really connect within and experience things. And that was just a lesson for me of like, there are no perfect conditions for meditation. You just have to lock in and do it.
For sure.
Um, um, where I felt the most emotion and like energy tears come, which I just feel like tears are energy through passing by. But
Mhm.
where I felt emotion and tears was in the sacral chakra, which is like you said, connected to Oshun. And I just found that so interesting because I'm finally like today will be day 3 of a sweet bath, and it's my first sweet bath. And
Okay.
I it's funny because I was like I'll go to a bitter bath fast, but I never do sweet baths. And when you did the class about baths and was like you should follow up, or you know you're keeping that space empty for something to creep in, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, oh wow, like this is the first time that I'm really prioritizing sweet baths. I'm also been journaling about like why do you feel like you can skip that? Like what is it about sweetness that you're like
Hmm.
trying to avoid? So that's right now like my focus. Um so that was just interesting. I'm like, okay, let's get more sweetness because you still feel I feel like it can get a little softer. It still feels a little hard
Hmm.
in the sacral. And my last one was a lot of curiosity when you mentioned warriors ancestry. Um, this was the first time that like I went into thinking about my paternal lineage, which I don't know much about, but that was the first like I don't know, like my dad image of my dad came to my brain first, and then just curiosity about his lineage and like my dad is a Vietnam vet, and I believe his father also served.
Hmm.
in a world war, and thinking about like, oh, those warriors on that side of my family that I never really considered just because of not having as much of a connection with that side of my family,
For sure.
but really wanting to. And that I'm just really curious about the warriors or just like that ancestry period and like if those ancestors are with me because I never think that they are, but
Right. But
yeah.
they are, for
But
sure.
they
Of
are.
course they are. Yeah. No, I think that's really beautiful. And um even what you just mentioned about like calling in the sweetness, sometimes like, that sweetness is helping us to remember, well, shit, everything's going to be happening around me, but I'm going to need to sit down and take this meditation because I'm
Yeah.
giving myself this time.
Wow.
Um, but also like, even your warrior ancestors making themselves like making you more aware of them, even if it's just your mind randomly being like, oh, my dad's ancestry, my dad's family, my dad's lineage. Um, yeah, I mean, of course they're walking with you, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would be interested to see what a of that or connection with them on an ancestral altar could be like, because maybe you weren't very connected to them in, life at this time, but for those who are not here,
Yeah.
physically, they're able to offer that protection and love to you in ways that they weren't able to while they were, incarnated here.
Absolutely. That's a
Mhm.
beautiful invitation and just like, yeah, I'm looking forward to making those connections.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
sharing. And we can take one more. I want to be mindful of everyone's time this evening.
I can share.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think for me, keeping it short, the solar plexus was one that I really saw a lot of imagery. I saw actually a similar river to the one I saw at one of the earlier activations we had this year, and it looked like the same river. And then all of a sudden, I keep hearing a buzzing of bees that was nearby me, and so it was beautiful to connect with that community, that the buzzing away, humming away, and working, and then just working on the sweetness of life. So that was beautiful to hear. And then the other one that really stuck out to me was the root chakra. Was I couldn't visualize the root so much because they kept moving kind of like sideways and just expanding really, really fast. But the soil was this like dark, deep, dark, rich, nutrient soil, and that was just really beautiful to see because I think when I think about roots, I'm trying to imagine the roots, but I sometimes forget to think about the soil and the conditions, right?
Mhm.
Um, that nourish the roots. And so I feel like I still need to sit with that because it was just really beautiful to see. And then I guess the last one was for me the sacral point because I'm currently menstruating. I felt like I found myself in the middle of a wave, this big wave, but I was rocking with the wave. And so that was
Mm.
also really kind of interesting to experience and beautiful to know that like there's this big body of water, but I felt cared for, and I felt that I was going to be okay. So going with the flow of that movement was really beautiful to experience.
That sounds beautiful. Thank you so much. As you were mentioning the soil and like the conditions for the roots, I'm like, as you were saying, I can like feel the coolness of the soil and like smell that richness of the soil. And I think that that's a really beautiful perspective because, yeah, oftentimes we are like looking for those roots and like, visualizing what that's going to look like. But, we don't often think about, like you said, the condition that those roots are expanding in and growing in and like feeling really tethered in. So thank you so much for sharing that and for giving that reminder for sure. Going back to the chat, just wanted to share that I really appreciate connecting with divine masculine guardians. It was very moving and healing to feel their presence, especially being in a time of my life where I'm intentionally trying to heal wounds related to men. Most definitely. I feel that. Um, that's the beautiful thing about connecting with the Orisha in this way because they are, sometimes they are expressed as, masculine or feminine, like binary, but there is this like deep expression, like Shango, for example, like this divine masculine or Ogun, and how they can be like warriors, but they are deeply protecting, they are deeply supportive. So finding ways to connect with divine masculine from this way of nature and this way of, even the ways that we express that to ourselves, the way that we, care for ourselves, support ourselves. It's a really beautiful, again, like perspective shift. So thank you so much for sharing that, Juliana. And just to wrap it up, just wanted to leave some space for any Q&A, any questions that might have come up regarding the meditation or anything surrounding the School of Remembrance.
Not really a question, just excited to start.
Yay!
I'm like, I really need to give my like room a good deep clean. I'm having that like, I've gotta get ready. But I've been having like a lot of just like trying to sit with myself and like try and set some intentions behind this is like gonna get started soon and like trying to think about how I want to like take this year-long journey. So these like little drop-in sort of once a month things I think have been really helpful as well. Especially like with me knowing that I am continuing on past this.
Mhm.
It's been a nice way to sort of get myself, I guess recalibrated was a good word that you used earlier.
Mhm.
Because I've been a little bit scattered. I've been really like casting a wide net the past like maybe year or so as I'm like really starting this journey of remembrance and now I'm trying to kind of start to sweep, bring all those fishies back, so to speak. I'm trying to get all of the things that I've been gathering together and start to form a little bit of something that's a little bit more embodied. That is a word that I like stuck to in January that I was like, that's gonna be my word for 2026, and it's
Yes.
popping up a lot. And I really am just trying to get like find the energy behind that. I get really stuck and stalled very easily. So I think for me, like keeping the energy up and going, and obviously like moving into these moments of rest is really important. But yeah, I guess I don't really have a question at all. I'm just excited and I hope to see some familiar faces there as well. Um, I'm really excited to see how things unfold and all of the people that will be there. I consider myself a storyteller, so I think I'm really starting to get really fascinated with how this experience will come out of me and how meeting people and I don't really know how it's gonna go. You know more than I do at this point, obviously. Um, but yeah, I'm just really grateful for these spaces and yeah, that's all I think I had on my heart.
No, I love that. Thank you so much. It is wild that we're starting in just 2 weeks from now. Um, y'all, it's been it's been a beautiful journey for us to get here. And even for those of us, those who are here who may not be joining the cohort this year, like it's been a beautiful few months journeying together through this experience, through these, community activations. I'm so appreciative for your time, for your energy, and for your trust, to see what's good, to dive in and to be like, what is this girl talking about remembrance? All right, let's do it. So I appreciate your presence. Um, I do see some folks, a few names in here, folks who are in this year's cohort. And I want to remind y'all, I sent out an email via our Kajabi portal earlier, I think last week. Today, though, was the day that the calendar went live. So you're able to see all of the classes, all of the faculty that we'll be meeting with for levels 1 and level 2. You have access to the community forum board, so you can take a moment if you'd like to introduce yourself. But something that we have noticed today is a lot of folks are not subscribed to the emails within Kajabi. So you might be missing some things if you're not subscribed to the email or if you don't have like the app on your phone. So when you have a moment, I'll send out another email later, but I wanted to mention that while there are quite a few of us here today. Is the group closed already? I applied, but I'm waiting to hear back. Today was the last day for applications, but I still am going. There are some applications that I haven't had a chance to reach out to folks yet. So if you don't hear from me by tomorrow, you'll definitely hear from me by Thursday. And then we can have a chance to connect from there. If you have applied, and we have sent a lot of acceptance letters over the last week. So the closing date for that is June 20th. So that's when like the cohort will close. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, but if you haven't, like again, if you haven't heard back from me by Thursday, please email me. And we'll get it together for sure.
Okay, great. I was getting a little worried. I was like, I haven't heard back.
It's crunch time.
I'm excited. I want to join.
No, I'll definitely, well, I see your name, so I'll make sure to make a note and look through the applications for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Well, again, I'm so appreciative for this time. Hi, Lavita. I see your little smile. Hi, friend. We've got the babies checking in.
Hi.
She can hear you now, baby. You want to say okay, good night.
Good night. I love when the babies pop in. All right, y'all. Again, thank you so much for taking the time this evening. We will be having more activations throughout the year, so definitely stay tuned and to see what that's going to look like as we move through the School of Remembrance. Yeah, I'll send an email with the recordings if you'd like to revisit this at a later date. Otherwise, I'm going to let y'all go and have a peaceful Monday evening. Happy new moon. Happy Monday. Have a beautiful night, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.